So all of the first-round quarterbacks from this 2021 draft class made their debut in the NFL. I mean, I know it's the preseason, but technically they played on an NFL field with somewhat NFL players. And we're going to go over Trey Lance today. Trey Lance, the third overall pick of the San Francisco 49ers. And I plan on covering other quarterbacks as first starts. I want to do Zach Wilson. I want to get to Justin Fields. I actually watched a lot of his start live. He looks pretty good. I have not watched any Trevor Lawrence, which is funny because this guy's the first pick, and you barely see like his start put out there. You don't see many highlights about him. And I want to watch Mac Jones as well at some point. So if you guys are interested in those type of videos, let me know in the comments. I'll do other film reviews on those guys as well. But today we'll get into Trey Lance. Now, Lance had an up and down first start. It was pretty much what I expected. Showed some very high ceiling type plays, got away from the pass rush at some points, but also showed some things you would expect to see from a 21-year-old who played one game last year. So there's some up and downs. We'll go over it and go over his first start against the Chiefs here in the preseason. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get into it. So here's the first play of Trey Lance. A lot of I formation, by the way, from the Niners in this game specifically. I just saw a ton of it. All right, so you have like 3-4 linebackers, and they're all going to crash here, kind of biting for the run. They're all going to retreat, but that kind of left some check down options here. That looks like Jermichael Hasty. You had a fullback here or a tight end, and he could have went that route, but Trey Lance kind of triple clutches, gets out of the pocket, and throws a strike right to Brandon Ayuk, who unfortunately dropped the ball. I'm a big fan of Ayuk. Hopefully he has a good year. But yeah, I mean, I think Trey Lance showed some of the upside here. You like what you see here. Could have went with the first option, doesn't panic, kind of just goes through his progressions and then kind of works back. Right tackle got his guy out pretty wide, and he was able to step up to his right and make a nice throw, showing off the rocket arm. Could have went with the check down once again right here, but I think the throw to Ayuk was an accurate one, and it should have been caught. So here was a play where Trey Lance got sacked. I think it was his first sack of the day of 4, and I think Chris Jones just abused his guy, the right guard somewhere here, right here. And he got to him pretty quickly. Now, there was a chance he could have thrown a drag route. I mean, if you see all the pressure coming, maybe Trey Lance in the future will determine the pass rush coming here because, you know, there's one blitzer. I think there was 2 at some point. So you see all this pressure coming in. He also had a guy open here, and I'm pretty sure that the Chiefs were in man defense. But this guy was supposed to be with him on the drag route. That's a pretty far separation. You could have just thrown it in stride. He would have picked up the first down. It's easy to say in hindsight, of course, but Trey Lance wanted a bigger play to develop, and then Chris Jones got there pretty quickly. So that's more on the right guard than anything, but that was the first of 4 sacks on the day. So here was the 80-yard touchdown to Trent Sherfield. I think he was a former Arizona Cardinal. I remember watching him. But anyway, so it's going to be play action. This is just the beauty of Kyle Shanahan. This tight end, I believe, comes over the formation and kind of just blocks here. It was a great just design play right there. Has an extra blocker, and Lance is going to roll out to his left, and you have basically all the defense over here. There's only 2 guys, well, 3 if you include the running back, but basically 2 receivers running routes. That's Sherfield and that's Ayuk. He could have thrown the crosser to Ayuk. He had a couple steps on his guy. He wanted the big play to develop. He had all the time in the world. He knows that, and Sherfield actually breaks this off at a perfect time, and Trey Lance puts it in stride for an 80-yard touchdown. So that was the upside of Trey Lance, and what you can see right there, just so effortless, a flick of the wrist type throw for him. I want to see if the replay shows anything good. Here's a good angle of it right here. So that's Sherfield up there, I believe. He's going to break off right there, and this safety took a very bad angle to it, has enough separation, and puts it to him in stride. So that was an awesome throw, awesome play right there for Trey Lance. And once again, Kyle Shanahan setting him up with a great play call. That's why I have, a lot of faith in Trey Lance being a good NFL quarterback, not because he's very talented, but the play calling of Kyle Shanahan will make his life easier. Of course, the Niners have a great roster, and I'm excited to see what he does when he gets in there in the regular season finally. So here was another play where Trey Lance took a sack, and this is where experience will definitely make a difference. And once Trey Lance is in the league for a couple of years, maybe not even that long, but he will get this eventually. This is where you see like Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees and Tom Brady take advantage of stuff like this. I think they motioned out Wayne Gallman. The broadcast didn't show us long enough, but they motion out Wayne Gallman. They kind of show its man coverage here on defense. Now, Wayne Gallman's guy is going to back up before the snap. So this is Gallman's guy. This is Gallman. This is Gallman's man. And the tight ends right here, these are two tight ends. They're going to clear out this area right here, and Gallman's going to run a slant underneath, and they definitely had room for a play. Now, the problem is the Chiefs have 6 pass rushers and 5 blocking offensive linemen. So that is the problem. There's going to be a free rusher. It's this guy right here who eventually will get the sack, I believe. But if he waited a tiny bit longer right here for Wayne Gallman right here. Like, if he makes this throw right here to Wayne Gallman, I think he's eyeing him down. If he pulled the trigger right here, I think this would have been a first down. Gallman would have caught it, turned upfield, and went down somewhere around here and passed the first down most likely. So this throw could have been made. It looked like he wanted to make it. I just think he just a second too late decided, like, I don't know why he didn't throw it. And you see Gallman here with his arms open, like, come on, throw the ball. But for some reason, Lance did not pull the trigger, and he takes a sack. So that was a bit unfortunate. But once again, with more experience, you will see Trey Lance start to take advantage of that. Once again, it was a good play call by Kyle Shanahan to basically clear out this area and get Gallman wide open, and he probably would have caught it and got the first down. So here's a throw from Lance from his own end zone, basically. They're on like the 1 yard line, and it's play action. This is definitely a tough situation for a young quarterback. Your first start, you don't want to take a safety, obviously, but he looks for his guy. He's going to break off his route right around here, this tight end. I don't know if he pushes off or the guy just falls, whatever it was. I mean, it might have been. No, I don't think he did anything. I think the guy just tripped over himself, honestly. But the Chiefs defender fell, and Lance laid out a pretty nice pass there in stride. They pick up, I don't know how many yards that would have been, 25 or so. But no, more than that. Looks like 30-something. But yeah, they got a nice gain out of this one. Here's the throw from Lance. Look at some of the throwing mechanics. I'm not like a throwing mechanics expert, but I like what I saw here. He points that front toe towards his target. That definitely helps. Kind of drags that back leg a bit. And, of course, that right arm finishing near that left pocket. You like to see that. A nice spiral on that ball and hit him right in the chest, basically. So that was a good throw, good decision by Lance right there. It is a tough throw for a young quarterback sometimes. Definitely benefited with, the guy falling right here. You would have maybe liked this throw a tiny bit more outside in case he actually stayed on his feet and could have intercepted it and undercut this ball. But at the end of the day, he got it complete. He got him basically out of their own end zone and got them 30 yards up the field. So a nice play right there by Lance. So when you look at Trey Lance's stats, it shows he was 5 for 14, but that should have been 8 for 14. He had 3 pretty bad drops in this game going against him, and this is Richie James now. He's going to run an out route right around like the 31-yard line. I think that's DeAndre Baker, former Giant first-round pick, by the way. But Richie James, runs a pretty nice route, but just does not catch the ball. And Trey Lance laid it out perfectly. Like, that's the most important thing. That's why we're here, is to evaluate Trey Lance. And he actually laid out a very nice pass in a great spot. Like, you love where that ball placement is. It's in a good spot. He just has to catch it, look it in. But I don't know what happened right there. So that was not good to see, obviously. I think they showed another angle. That's the drop again. So that's, pretty inexcusable right there. Now, here's Trey Lance's throwing mechanics. Once again, I'm not a throwing mechanics expert, but this looked kind of odd. Like, he's very low in his base and kind of looks like he's throwing across his body at one point. It's very, I don't know if they changed his mechanics or what, but it's just very weird looking. But it did work. It was a very accurate pass, so I'm sure they love that. Obviously, you have to catch that one, so you hate to see that for a young receiver, but that is DeAndre Baker. But yeah, hopefully next time the receiver will make that catch, but that should have been a 3rd and 8 conversion. And once again, when you look at Trey Lance going 5 for 14, looking at the numbers does not tell the entire story, obviously. So here was a play that was a near interception, but it is very common for a young quarterback to fall for something like this. It looks like man coverage, especially on top. Like, this is DeAndre Baker once again, and I could see why Trey Lance was definitely fooled by this. Like, right up until here, you would think this is man coverage right here, but DeAndre Baker's going to kind of break it off into zone and kind of drop over here. This guy's running like a corner out route right over here, and DeAndre Baker undercuts it and almost gets an interception on it. So, like, that was a very, good defensive disguise, if you will, by, what's his name? I forget his name. Steve Spagnuolo. I should know that name as a Giants fan. But anyway, the Trey Lance throwing mechanics once again, not as much as an exaggerated dip right there, but the arm angle is kind of weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it. He's not like fully extended. I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of like he's aiming the ball. Like, he's not just letting it go. He's just aiming the ball. I don't know if that's the way he was throwing in college. I just don't remember seeing that. And DeAndre Baker, could have made that play, obviously. But, if he wasn't there and he was in man coverage, that would have been the right read, because obviously this corner route was going to be wide open. But when you have this cornerback dropping here into zone coverage, well, that's a problem, because he's going to undercut it and possibly intercept it. So definitely some inexperience right there. Trey Lance's end, we saw that pop up a few times. But once again, he's 21 years old, played 1 game last year. It should not worry anybody. But stuff like this will be resolved at some point in the future. So here's one where Trey Lance just flat out missed the guy. It was a dig route with this receiver up here, I believe, over the middle of the field, about 15 yards away from where he was throwing it. And, I want to see the replay first before saying he has to make that throw. We'll take a look. Right here is his guy. He's going to break off right there. and let's see how much separation there is. I mean, it's, probably enough. I would say that's open in the NFL. His guy was pretty close to him, but there was a chance to make that throw. Ball is right here, and he was off by a couple yards at least right there, so that was not what you like to see, but at least the throwing mechanics looked more natural, I guess you could say right there. Didn't look as weird as the last couple throws, so that is a positive, but the throw, of course, has to be more accurate. The spiral on the ball, I want to take a look. It wasn't great, but it also wasn't terrible. I've seen Peyton Manning do worse, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't really as bad as I originally thought, but yeah, it's a throw in the NFL you probably have to make. I hate to be like too hard on the guy, once again being 21, but when he's in there in the regular season at some point, that's a throw they're going to expect him to make. So here's the last play we'll go over here. There was a fumble, but there wasn't really much involved with Trey Lance on that play. The offensive lineman got beat and he fumbled. They recovered it, so it was fine, but anyway, so here's the last play here. 3rd and 15. It's second quarter, almost halftime, 19 seconds left. So you're trying to make like a pretty big throw here. And sometimes when you have a big arm, you just trust it too much and you make a throw you should not have made. Sometimes you get a little overconfident with your arm strength, and that's probably one right there. The linebacker was in zone, and he definitely was seeing the entire thing. I think he was right here trying to undercut this ball. Almost intercepted it. So Lance almost had 2 interceptions in this game, but he also had a couple of like big drops that could have made his day even better. I would say overall, Trey Lance had the type of day you would expect for a guy who has not played much in a while and has the upside he has, but also is very young and will make some mistakes. So I think as a Niners fan, you should be very excited. This guy has shown he has the tools to be great. The Niners will put him in a position to succeed. We'll find out who the week 1 starter is. I guess right now, technically, it is Jimmy Garoppolo, but I guess at some point, Trey Lance will probably end the season as the starting quarterback. We'll find out when that happens, but the Niners, I believe, have a pretty easy schedule to start the year, so it might be Garoppolo for the first 1 or 2 months. We'll find out what happens there, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We got Zach Wilson coming up next with the Jets against the Giants, and I'll talk to you guys next time.